Welcome to video 2 as we talk about our relationship and what we are to do in respect to our interactions with law enforcement. We talked about prayer. Now I'd like to talk about the fact of us working our rights. You know, many people have said that all Christians are about are just praying, not doing anything more than that, and not really taking steps or actions. But that's not true. Let's look at the life of someone who encouraged us to pray in 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 1 and 2. What did he do when he came up against injustice? I want to turn your attention to Romans chapter 16 and verses 35 through 40. In Romans 16, verses 35 through 40, we have Paul who is imprisoned wrongly. And the next morning, after he has prayed in that night and see God worked in a miraculous and glorious way, the next morning, he is now put in a circumstance where he is challenged to overlook the wrong that was done to him. His response begins in verse 35. It says, "And now when day came, the chief magistrates sent their policemen and their law enforcement officers, saying, 'Release those men.' And the jailer reported these words to Paul, saying, 'The chief magistrates have sent to release you. Therefore, come out now and go in peace.' But Paul said to them, 'They have beaten us in public, without trial, men who are Romans, and have thrown us into prison. And now are they sending us away secretly? No, indeed. But let them come themselves and bring us out.'" Paul is saying, my due diligence, or Paul is saying my due process has been pushed aside. His sense of his citizenship as a Roman citizen has been torn up and thrown away. He has been treated as someone who is guilty until found innocent. He has been, his citizenship has been removed. And so Paul says, oh no, what you're not going to do is just push me out, is just quietly have me walk out of town, creep out of town, after you've publicly shown yourself to be in opposition to what you hold as justice and what is right. He says, no, indeed, you've got to come down here and you've got to make it right. Do not allow the police officers, do not allow those who are in law enforcement to do that which is unacceptable. And so Paul models for us what it means to take a stand, to cry out for change, and to take actions using our rights to bring about that change. Please, there are quite a few steps that we can take, and so often we think, no, we can't. We can't say anything. We can't move, because let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God, and the powers that be are ordained of God. No, Romans 13:1 also entails the fact that there is a back and forth relationship. There is an interaction that is to take place. And this passage and Paul's actions reveal that to us. So in modern 21st century America, what can be done? What is within our means? What is within our rights to use our rights to leverage for justice? Let me give you a few steps. One of those is protest. We can take a stand and we can say we do not like what is taking place. Paul stood against actions that were not right, stood against actions that went against his right as a Roman citizen, stood against actions that he saw and he knew was not to take place. And so we have then the responsibility to speak up. Let me give you another one. Another one is very foundational, and that is voting. There are many who have protested, many who have marched, many who have lost their lives to give us the right to vote. That is the most basic principle step that we can take. Putting those out of positions of authority and putting those who are more in line with seeing done right into positions of authority. So we have no basis for criticizing the police if we never step forward to vote. There are opportunities for us to interact in ways that allow us to support the police, so that the first time we show up is not when things go wrong. If we only show up when things go wrong, then what happens is that no one looks forward to our coming. And I pray that you will give some consideration to many more steps that can be taken. But we have to use our rights in a free country, in a country that allows us to speak our mind and allows us to voice that which moves us to justice, moves us to what is right over that which is wrong, and take steps to say, no, this is not acceptable. Let's bring about change. Okay, we've done the first two. We've talked about, first of all, the step of prayer. Then we've talked about now the step of working our rights. We're going to talk about committed communication in the next video.